Hey everyone. All right, so we are still working on the Twin Home Experts account, and this video is part of the Los Angeles Plumbers series. So this video is going to be longer than our average video, only because we have a lot to talk about. We have a lot to discuss, and we have a lot of work to do with this account. So I'm going to go ahead and start by saying, if you're working with a client like this, it's so critical that you have up par communication with them, because you're going to want to make sure that you have as much information as possible, and you want to keep pushing them to give you content. One of the easiest ways to get content from customers is having either them make a video or write it, so we don't have to spend our staff time writing it because we're not the experts, right? So let's go through some of the changes that we've done since our last video that I've posted, which I'll link down below. The first thing is we've added a plethora of leak detection articles onto the website based on the keywords that they want to rank for. You can see that all the content is listed inside of the leak detection and repair tab. But then also, if you were to go to, like mold, let's say, we have all of this stuff too. So we've already completed kind of the mold on this site. So now we're going towards the leak detection, and then we'll do the plumbing. That'll be our next stop. So recently we added all of this content onto this website, and we're going to go through this content, and we're also going to organize it a little bit better. So the first thing that I wanted to show you guys is when you have a site like this, when you can create a lot of content like this for a specific website, what happens is you can actually start getting the calls that actually start asking for those services. For example, over here, this is a tool that we use to track the calls. You can see that the notes that we take for these actual leads, people actually ask for very specific things. So this person has an emergency. Oops, I can't highlight it. This person has an emergency. They want it same day. And then, blah, blah, blah. This person here was a realtor. They wanted mold removal. They didn't ask how they found them. This person wants leak detection. This person wants air quality testing. This person wants, Poria from the website. And what's cool about that is you can see that Poria is clearly visible here on the actual website, and there's articles to accomplish that. So with content marketing and SEO, you want to make sure that you're showing the visitor as much relevant information on that website as you can, because that person's going to navigate through the site. When we do visual heat map tracking using a tool called Hotjar, we can clearly see what people are doing on the website. And often, if they're on mobile or if they're on desktop, they're going around and they're looking at these different tabs and trying to read as much as possible so they can make sure that they segment themselves as much as possible. So while we're still working on this account today, we've gotten a lot of content from the actual client. So we're going to be adding that content. We're also going to be organizing this leak detection and repair to make sure that it's organized as much as possible on the actual site. And the reason for that is although there's all this stuff here, our actual page for home leaks, which I'm going to push this down a little bit so you guys can see the URL path, our actual home leaks, there's a lot of things that we have to fix here. One is there's a lot more internal linking that we're going to be able to do because we've written content. So generally speaking, when we do this, we're going to have to go back in and start actually adding this content in. So the other cool thing is if I typed in Los Angeles gas leak repair, they have the snippet here. If I typed in Los Angeles leak detection, I'm not sure if they have a snippet. Let me do water. This is the type of stuff that we're trying to accomplish with not only these keywords, but also the plumbing keywords. So you can see Los Angeles water leak detection. Actually, this page that we're looking at right here actually ranks on the first page of Google organically. And that's kind of our goal with this, is to make sure that these keywords are ranking in the search results so we can get that organic traffic up. When you look at the twins here, their traffic value went down from 18,000 to 13,000. And this is a metric that Google uses, or Ahrefs, I'm sorry, not Google, Ahrefs uses to determine what's the pay-per-click value of the site's organic traffic. The reason why this value went down over time is because we got rid of a bunch of HVAC and plumbing related keywords that kind of were irrelevant to their business goals going forward. So it's not a bad thing if your traffic value drops if you redo a site, if it's within that client's actual goal of the type of leads that they want to get. When we look at the lead data here, if all of this data said plumbing and all of these bullcrap leads, if they were toilet leads that they didn't want to do anymore, that's something that's definitely not good, because you're getting the client leads that they're not asking for. But if they're all within the service that they want to provide, it's okay to see a small traffic decrease. It's okay to see some type of organic decrease. You want to make sure that the site is relevant enough to actually go in and get the client the type of leads that they're looking for, and you can only do that if you create relevant content on the site based on their goals. So let's get into some of the content now. So these keywords that we've written. So let's say like, window leak detection. So all these keywords start to rank, and it's awesome because this is exactly what you're going to learn inside of this video, is getting these keywords to rank as much as possible using the actual SEO. Now you can see right here that sometimes both the pages rank. So you have a water intrusion and rain leak blog ranking. Then you also have the typical home leaks page ranking. Now I don't know if that's because this site hasn't been re-indexed in Search Console. Google Search Console is a tool where you can basically tell it to index the page. But sometimes this does happen where you get duplicate rankings like this. The blog will show up and then the actual page will show up. The goal is to get the actual window leak page to show up instead of the actual category page. So when you think about it this way, the category page is this homeleaks.com, right? It's this twin plumbing / home leaks. That is the category page up here. And then you have your window, which is, it changes the actual URL. Then it goes to window leak detection. And then that's its own category, or that's its own page inside of that category. Ideally speaking, that's the page that we want to rank for. So the way I look at that is if I type in this keyword right here, and I type in the keyword phrase, and it's not ranking on that page, likely we don't have to write an article on that page, because you can see the blog is what Google wants to serve for that specific page. I don't see the actual content that we wrote. So it doesn't mean that it won't index it forever, but it does mean that if you do see something ranking already for that keyword, likely you're not going to have to make a page for it. We just made this page to increase the relevancy and authority of the website, to get more content onto the website at the end of the day. So with that being said, let's hop into the actual editor and let's look at this page a little bit, right? So I know that we wrote a lot of content here. So we have crawl space, irrigation, HVAC, sinks and showers. And in a bullet list here, you have some of those keywords. So sinks and showers, obviously we want to internally link that to increase the user experience on the site. We want to increase that. I don't know if we did roof. Yep, we definitely did roof. So I want to go ahead and internally link that. Roof leak detection we did there as well. And then I'm not sure if we did any other ones that we can potentially internally link: irrigation, HVAC, crawl space, patio. So I'm going to go ahead and just add those. So I'm going to add irrigation, crawl space, patio. Okay. And the other ones they said that they don't focus on. So irrigation, I'm going to go ahead and just internally link that. And we want to do that because I want to make sure that this site has as much relevance as possible when people are navigating through it, so we can enhance the SEO performance. A lot of the times when you're doing this, you want to make sure that the content is continuously updated, because Google loves that. And Google's going to rank a site that has this, higher authority content, and more water pressure is not something that we're doing. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that link. That shouldn't be there. Google loves this stuff, and they want to make sure that this site's as relevant as possible. So that's all set to go and inside of there. So that's good. And then we have these other ones here, and then we have a call to action at the bottom here. So that's fine. So this page is all set and ready to go. So what I wanted to do inside of this video is we have some content that they sent us that I want to actually add to the website. And I want to add this content to the website because we want to make sure that we have as much information as possible. So the Twins, they do a few different locations that they service. One is obviously Los Angeles. That's kind of our target location. Then they have Utah, which is where the focus is going to be going forward throughout the rest of the year. So we want to make sure that we start ranking those Utah keywords as much as possible. So with that being said, the goal is still the same in Utah. They want to rank for the mold related keywords. They want to rank for the leak detection keywords. And they also want to rank for the water damage type keywords. So if you type in Park City, Utah, mold removal, we already did write some content on that page that is ranking on that actual page. So that's always good. So when you go down here and you look and see, they should be first page on this actual phrase here, but we definitely want to get them to the top because we want to make sure that this page is getting as many leads as possible. Now, this might be a different strategy though, because this service area is completely different than, let's say, Los Angeles. So the content's going to have to be different. The site might actually be completely different. It might be a completely different site just to rank for Utah in itself. But for now, we have some content that they do want us to add to the website. So we want to make sure that we're going ahead and do that. So what we're going to do is I have the content here. I'm going to go ahead and break up this content, and I'm going to go ahead and write it and put it onto the CMS, the website, and then we're going to publish it, index it, and see where it ranks. So, for example, we have a lot of content that they wrote here that I'm going to go ahead and push over here. So let's go over to Basecamp, and I'm going to go ahead and just add the doc here, just so we have it. Okay. So there you go. Let's copy and paste that there. Okay, so we have a bunch of content here that we can use for this actual thing, right? So tons of content that we have right there that we can use. That's going to be super easy for us to add to the website that I don't have to write, that we already have. We just need to publish it, get it ranking, and then kind of step away from that and keep moving, right? So let's look at this content that we have. So they like doing this leak detection companies in Utah versus them, which is awesome. So let's go ahead and just space that out. I'm going to bold this. I'm going to format this in an easier way to actually read. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just click over to here. As a homeowner, it's going to be very frustrating, blah, blah, blah. Let's start with American leak detection. Okay. We are not perfect. Awesome. Now let's get to the pros and cons. This is all content that we got to add. Now, this is the cost related keywords. So what I like doing whenever we're trying to rank for these keywords, I'll actually just search it and see what's going on in terms of who's ranking there already. So you can see that American leak detection seems to be the company that's ranking higher on this page. And often I won't even do too much research on what they have on their site, right? I often won't do like so much work here. I mean, I'll just kind of look and see what they've got going on. So they have leak detection here. So I'm imagining this is an H1 tag. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, I would imagine this is an H1 tag. So they already have that there. You have your H2 tag here directly reflecting the keyword. And then you have kind of like your little thing here. And then you have 4 boxes here that go into their other services. We want to consider what we're doing to actually design this page when we go through it. Go ahead and add this content. So that's good. Identifying leaks. Then they check this off. Little call to action. Worried about leaks. Check out our do yourself leak test. That's awesome. Okay. Keyword, call to action. 4 reasons people choose us. Think you have a leak. Okay, looks good. This content is awesome. So it's definitely ranking for a reason because the page is structured very nicely and we want to create pretty similar page structure. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and talk about this content here. So leak detection costs. Then we have ceiling leak detection. Oops, sorry. Let me just undo that. Then we have ceiling leak detection, right? That's something that we definitely want to do. Conclusion. Okay. We might use this as the call to action for each page. Rain leak detection, so that's definitely something we want to do. Rain leak detection costs. So we want to structure this very, 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 very carefully, guys, because we want it to make sure that it ranks and the organization is nice. Roof leak detection. We have content for the roof, which is awesome. So let's go there and let's take a look at that. Then we have roof leak detection cost, right? So they're adding cost inside of all of these different keywords. So we can probably add this on the same page, which is awesome. Then we have deck and patio, which is another keyword phrase that we did do on their existing website. If you go here, there is a patio leak detection page, which should be ranking on the first search results page, because a lot of people don't go this in depth with the content. So if we go to Los Angeles, let's see if it's ranking. There it is. It's under the home leaks page. This seems to be that popular page though, right? So we want to make sure that we get the other pages indexed when we're doing this. Then you have Twin Home Experts, deck PDO leak detection costs, something that we also want to make sure we're adding inside of there. And then the conclusion. So we have a few pieces of content, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create probably an overall page for leak detection. And what I'm going to do is then I'm going to break it into, these different types of things here. So, I'm going to use this content as kind of like the home page, right? So if you look at it this way, here, I'm going to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about because this can be very, very confusing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the actual Twin Plumbing domain, let's say. I'm going to have it basically go like this. I'm going to have the domain like this. And then when I move this over, or when I go in and start creating this content, I think I have, let's see what the actual service area is. And then what do I have? Utah? Okay, so I already have a Utah one. Awesome. So this page right here, it's a 404. I got to fix that. But I'm going to have a URL structure that basically looks like this, Utah. And then I'm going to do leak detection. Okay. And then alongside of that, this page right here is going to be this content right here. So it's going to be like this homepage content. And then very similar to how American Leak Detection is doing it, putting these boxes in here to internally link to keep going through. Then I'm going to have leak detection, and then I'm going to do like, roof leak, right? And then cost. And then I'm just going to keep going like this, keeping that URL structure really clean to make sure that Google search bots can read exactly what we're doing without over optimizing, right? You would never want to have a URL structure that looks like this. Leak detection companies in Salt Lake City costs for roof, right? This, yeah, it'll rank. This will definitely rank. But the sustainability and the likeliness of this ranking clean, like clean and not, you know, scrambled is very, 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 very unlikely. For example, if I look at this one here, and this, you can see the URL structure is done very nicely here, residential plumbing leak detection, so it's categorized very well. We're going to do something very similar with that. So in this video, we're going to design that page. We're going to move over that page, and we're going to use a lot of different stuff here, okay? So bear with me if you guys haven't seen a video like this where we actually build a page. So let's get into it. So getting very clear on the keywords we want to rank for, obviously, in Utah. We want to make sure that we have, you know, leak detection Utah. That's already a page. And then we can kind of break this down here, break this down. Then we want leak detection costs, maybe as a separate page. And then we'll break down the different types. So we'll have the ceiling one, we'll have the rain leak, we'll have the roof leak, and then we'll have the deck and patio leak. So that's perfect because we can use those small little squares in the boxes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go back to the editor, and I'm going to go to this actual page builder here, and I'm actually going to go ahead and just click on the Utah one. So we don't have a broad Utah service areas type of page, as you can see here. We just have this service areas Utah Park City. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and just create a something like this. I'm going to take this page template and I'm going to duplicate it, and I'm just going to name this leak detection. Okay. So when I duplicate that page, it's going to give me this leak detection stuff here, which will eventually create something that's Utah, and we'll categorize it and make it look really nice and just make sure that that's all there. But for now, let's go ahead and just edit the title tag, the meta description, and the stuff here, right? So we have Utah, then we have leak detection. Okay, so that's all set and set there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to write the title tag. When I do this, I usually like to see what competitors are writing their title tags like. So you can see that Utah is ranking for Salt Lake City. So maybe we want to do something that's like Salt Lake City, right? Because that seems to be what is big there. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take their services that they actually want to rank for, and I'm going to put them inside of the title tag and meta description. Because if I can do that, then basically they're going to show up for different types of things. So I'm going to do, I'm going to go back here, and I'm going to type in Utah leak detection. And I'm going to do costs, ceiling leaks, rain, what is it? Rain leaks. I don't want to over optimize there. What do we have here? Roof leaks. And then I'm going to do deck and patio. Okay. And alongside of that there, you see I have Utah leak detection. I have costs, ceiling leaks, rain, roof, deck, and patio. And then I might also want to actually just take out some of, maybe I can take this stuff out because they're going to be separate pages. So I might do Utah leak detection, and then I might target some towns there. So I might do like Salt Lake City. I might do Park City. And then there's the other ones that we were focusing on before, Urber and Camas, right? So Urber. Okay, so I might rather do that because those other pieces of content will rank on the separate pages. So I don't want them all to rank in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to do twin home or twin plumbing. Okay, let's just make sure that's not over the limit. So it is over the 70 character limit. So that's fine. I mean, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take this out. And I'm just going to do and surrounding areas. Let's make sure. Let's see if this is 72. Okay, so I'm going to take out the brand here. I'm just going to do Utah leak detection, Salt Lake City, and surrounding areas. And then I might be able to squeeze in some type of same-day service inside of here. So, you know, same day. Let's see if that works. Nope, that's not going to work. Maybe I could do emergency. Nope, that's not going to work. Okay, I'm just going to keep that there, very standard. And then for the meta description, usually this stuff is already written out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and put this stuff here. Okay. So let's read the content, make sure that it's good. As a homeowner, this can be being very frustrating and costly if you don't choose the right leak detection company for your leak issue. And I'm just going to say in Utah. Okay. Most homeowners are not aware of who to hire other than jumping on the internet and searching leak detection companies near me, then making a call. And then I'm going to say trust twin home experts. And I'm going to put, as a homeowner, this can be very frustrating and costly if you don't choose the right. Okay, perfect. Let's look at the competitor's description here. American Leak Detection of Utah is committed to offering the most accurate water minimizing damage property values, prevent most costly repair. Okay, so just keywords in there, very generic. All right, so I'm going to go back here and I'm going to go to this page. Now that I have kind of like the URL slug, the page title, and the description written out, I'm going to go ahead and go to this page. So the page template is very similar as to what we had before, where you have the form on the right side, then you have the thing here. So I'm going to go ahead and scrap most of this, and I might just keep the form actually on the right side. That's probably best. So let's go in and take a look here. So the first thing we have here is we want to create a page for leak detection, very similar to how we had it before. So what I can do is if I wanted a design that looked like this, I would just have my designers make this. So like this is definitely not something that I can make, although my designers can. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm going to spend some time right now and design this. And once I have something functioning, I'm going to come back to this video and then we're going to start plugging in the SEO content and you're going to see exactly how I organize this. So give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to pause the video and then I'll be right back. All right, everyone, welcome back. It took me a few hours to actually get this designed, but I think it came out really well. So this is the page, and you can see that I decided to use the H tag as Utah leak detection. Then what I like to do is kind of call out some of the benefits. So professional, same day, on-time service, and then just a text paragraph with we find the leak and provide a permanent solution for removal. And then I like to put this into the contact page so people can actually click there and schedule something over with the contact page. Now I put an image that we had from the client in the background, and this image was given to us from a Dropbox folder. Every time that we work with a client, we always make sure that we get some type of background images. This one's a little blurry, so I'm going to ask the team if they can send me something that's a little better in terms of quality and resolution. And then you can see right here that the service areas of the actual thing is twinplumbing.com/service area/Utah/leak detection. And we're going to be building off of this actual URL structure later on when we start adding more content. So going down the page, you can see that I have my H2 tag. I have Salt Lake City, Utah leak detection. We can locate your leak guaranteed. That's the H3. And then I have some text here that I took from the content that the customer actually provided us. Now, whenever we work with a client, generally speaking, we get back a survey and we get all this information up front. So you can see right here that I wrote Twin Home Experts of Utah is the go-to choice for non-invasive, accurate, expert leak detection in surrounding areas. Our 24-hour live operator ensures you have someone to call no matter the time of the day. Here's why you should trust Twin Home with your leak detection. And then I kind of go through their feature benefits and just drop a little call to action at the bottom that's bolded so people can clearly see the difference from that text and that text. A lot of the times when you're building out websites and when you're building out these pages, you want to make sure that there's a lot of breaking down in terms of text. You want to make sure that it's breaking down pretty well, and it's very easy to read. Then on the left side here, I have some links that actually go over to different pages. So for example, you can see right here, this page right here. Let me just make sure this is in frame. This page right here goes to roof leaks. Now, the issue with this is, the only problem we have right now is you see that this doesn't continue the URL structure that we were talking about. This goes to home leaks, roof leak detection, and this page is specifically about Los Angeles, Van Nuys, and San Fernando Valley. Whereas once we start building out these different pages, I'm going to be able to link this to the specific Utah one. And the Utah one is going to go to its own page based on the content that we already have for this. Same thing with costs, because we do have a cost page. If you go to pricing, we do have a cost page for this actual site. But remember, we're building out two different structures here. One's for Los Angeles, and then one is for Utah. So we're going to want to make sure that we're creating Utah-specific ones. Same thing with patio leaks, right? You can see at the bottom left there, home leak / patio, deck leaks, rain leaks, window leaks, HVAC equipment, crawl space. I like using this user navigation because on mobile, it looks really good. So when you look at it on mobile version, this is the actual mobile version of the site. You can see here that it looks really great. You have your H tag, you have your H3, some text, buttons, then you go to the H, then you go to the H3, common leaks in your home, then you have these nice boxes to kind of bring people out. Then I have my SEO text or content there. And then what I like doing is just doing the simple leak detection process. I always like showing the visitor, especially if it's someone that's never heard of the company before, the actual process to get this service started and get this service going. So obviously the first thing is to schedule them, call them anytime, 24/7 to schedule the inspection. They show up, they detect the leak, they do restoration. Now this section right here is just 4 columns. So you have a column here, 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 and then you have image, text, text, image, text, text, image, text, text. Web design is a completely different tutorial than this. This is kind of more of an SEO and how to create a site that has separate areas for SEO reasons. And then at the bottom we have a customer review section. So anybody that comes to this page, when they go to the bottom of it, they're going to be able to quickly see, 5-star reviews, why they should choose us. Here's several reasons, and then they can scroll through some of these different reviews, and this actually links to the reviews page. Now, as this site grows, especially in terms of Utah, which is their second location, as this site grows, this reviews page right now, it's just going to all of their Google reviews. The problem with that is I'm sure a lot of these say none of them say Los Angeles, so maybe they could just stick to this page. So now, guys, what we're going to do, now that you've seen kind of the general page overview, I'm going to use this same page template to create some other pages as well. Now, the cool thing about this is you can, as long as depending on the website builder that you're using, you could probably just keep the same page template when you're creating these pages. So I'm going to show you exactly what I mean by that. So in content, we have a costs section here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the editor, but I'm going to go ahead and just go and duplicate this page. So I'm going to keep all of the stuff the same, and I'm just going to do costs. And once this page duplicates, I'm actually going to put this page under this actual Utah leak detection thing here. And I'm also going to go ahead and just change the SEO on this, right? So right here we have Utah, you see how we have costs here? Instead, what we want to do, we want to create this category under leak detection, because I do believe that was the, leak detection. So we want to keep this same URL structure as much as possible to make sure that we're categorized and it looks good. So let's go ahead and just change that over to leak detection. And then I'm going to change the URL to costs and pricing. Okay. All right. So you can see how we're creating a string there that looks really nice. Then over here, I'm going to do leak detection, costs, and pricing. And then I'm just going to do home leaks, roof, HVAC. What are the other ones that we've listed here? Ceiling, patios. Okay. Actually, let me just go ahead and do Utah leak detection costs. There you go. And then inside of this little page description here, I'm just going to grab this this text right here that you can actually go ahead and put there inside of the meta description. And I'm just going to add contact Twin Home Experts for a free inspection. Okay, very standard. Now, when I click on this cost page, everything is going to say exactly the same. So that can be kind of an issue because you're going to have to change all the text. So you're not building the page manually every time. Instead, you're changing the text and you're changing the content on the page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at their content right here. I'm going to pull the screen aside and I'm going to add this content onto this page and show you kind of the way I would go about it. So let me move this content over. So the first thing is how much does slab leak detection cost here in Salt Lake City? So I'm going to do leak detection costs here instead of Utah leak detection. And then I'm going to do upfront pricing, transparent service, guaranteed. Okay, very standard there. And then over here, I'm going to create something that's completely custom. So, typically speaking, you don't want duplicate content as much as possible. It's going to happen. You're not going to be able to avoid having every single page look exactly the same. You're not going to be able to avoid them looking, completely different. It's just not going to happen. A lot of times when you're building out these sites, you're going to have to use very standard things. So like one thing I'm going to tell you right now is not going to change from this page is this section, and then this section is not going to change. I'm just going to change this content and this content. So, and then I'll probably change the image as well. So let me go through this and let me actually bring it back to when I'm ready to go. So let me change this text, let me change this page around, and I'll show you what the final result looks like. Okay guys, and there you go. So you can see that I just basically changed leak detection costs in here. I put upfront pricing, transparent service, guaranteed. And then in bold, I actually put the slab leak detection costs here in Salt Lake City, Utah. And the reason why I do this in bold is, generally speaking, it's very easy for the user to see that text. Same thing goes with this right here. So I took the content that the customer gave us, this actual small text content out of here, and I was able to make a page out of it. So you can see that it basically says the average leak detection should range anywhere from $200 to $1,250. Now, the reason why I set it up like that is because when somebody goes in and they search this keyword inside of the Google search results, we want to make sure that we show up for these actual cost-related phrases. For example, if I search mold removal Los Angeles cost, so I'm looking for price-based stuff, you can see that we actually have the featured snippet inside of here because we're mentioning the content as much as possible about the actual pricing, etc. inside of there. So if you just mention the pricing, if you say there are a few options of this type of remediation, the average cost, this is the range, Google's going to serve this featured snippet as much as possible because they know that you have accurate information on your site. And then you can see that there's a lot of different types of content that's ranking up there. But ideally, we want to put that up front. And then basically, I made this unique with the text content that the client gave us. This is the text content that they gave us. And then the rest of it was kind of just the standard templatized stuff that I duplicated from the other page here. That's not really going to hurt us in terms of our SEO rankings. I think a lot of people ask that question. Does having duplicate content on your website impact your SEO rankings? And the answer is no. Unless you're completely duplicate and you're stealing information everywhere from the internet, it's going to be kind of difficult for Google search to pick up your duplicate stuff because naturally, this is what the visitor wants to see. I mean, this stuff doesn't have to change. This textual content doesn't have to keep changing. It's not natural for you to keep changing it just to satisfy the search engines, right? So this process, I would follow it until I got down to all of the content that would be completed in here. So I would do the ceiling leak detection. And inside of here, once I completed the ceiling links, I would replace this link, or I would add this link to actually ensure that ceiling leak detection is created inside of there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the ceiling leak detection page. I'm going to link this one to make sure that this URL right here that clicks is only going to the Utah page and not the Los Angeles page, because these are technically two different sites under one domain. So let's go ahead and bang out the ceilings page. Let me do that and I'll be right back, and then I'll show you what I mean by when I say I'm linking it to increase the user experience. Okay, so we completed the ceiling leak detection, so let's go in and check it out. So the first thing that you should probably take a look at is you can see right here that this text content right here is completely unique. And I wrote that kind of just on the whim. So what I said is if you have a leak in your ceiling and you've tried everything and you can't try to find it, you've come to the right place. The Twin Home experts of Utah can permanently stop the leak by identifying the source and eliminating it once and for all. Not only do we find the source, we also perform the repair work and remediation if needed. Find the source guaranteed for all your money back. Okay, so that's pretty standard inside of there, not very difficult to do. And then I put a nice H tag here, just clearly stating the keyword phrase. And you notice I'm not trying to over optimize this at all. I'm instead just trying to make it look natural for the visitor, and Google will rank it just based off of user experience. So then you have ceiling leak in your home. This is exactly what they wrote. So I'm just going based off of this content here. And I kept the cost completely separate from this page because I'll probably make it a different page for the cost stuff. So this right here, ranging from $350 to $2,500, I'll probably make it different. And then I have an H3 tag here that basically says protect your home against leaks, call, and then I have a number, basic call to action on mobile. This looks really good, which we'll go over mobile in a second here. And then I have the text content here. This is the same text that I've cleaned up over here. I just basically grammar checked it, spell checked it, and organized it so it looks nice on the site. Before, when I dropped it in, it was very, very, very cumbersome. So just had to clean it up. When the client writes the content, often we find ourselves cleaning it up a little bit. And then you have the call to action. This is stayed exactly the same throughout the entire video. You don't really have to change this. I mean, unless you're doing a different service, if you have something that's like mold, or if you're talking about a completely different service than leaks, then you'll have to change this. But for now, it's fine. You can keep it exactly the same. And then you have the same process, same content here. And on mobile, so mobile version, I had to condense it a little bit because it was getting too cumbersome. So instead of putting the actual ceiling leak detection here, I just basically kept it as leak detection, and then I put uncover hard ways to find leaks in your ceilings and drywall. So I put the keyword inside of there. Same text content here, schedule and inspection, our services. On the mobile version and desktop version, I'll probably change this our services button over here to go to the actual cost page. So at the cost page, there's not a lot of content that we have here. There's not a lot of text that we have here. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to costs instead of putting it to our services, because right now when you go to our services, I think it goes to the leak detection, and this might have some Los Angeles content inside of it, so I definitely don't want that to show up when the user goes on that page. I want it to be all relevant to Utah, so I'll probably change that in terms of user experience. I'll probably change that over. So let's go back to ceiling, and let's go here. Okay. So let's go back to it. So we have this right here. This is the same thing as the desktop version, ceiling leaks in your Utah home, protect your home against leaks, but this is a click to call in the mobile version. As you know, on desktop, you cannot do click to call. So for that example, we're going to keep that the same there. And then these buttons are exactly the same. Text content's exactly the same. Mobile version, I kept the actual bulleted checklist different than the desktop ones. The desktop one, if I added the bulleted checklist over here, it would have probably been way too long, as you can see. So this button, this would have pushed down and it would have made it look really bad. So I wanted to keep this all in alignment for this section over here. So I wanted to make sure that I did that. But on the mobile version, as you know, it's more vertical, so you can add a lot more stuff in terms of the bulleted checklist there. And then you have a call to action here, and then same thing, leak detection process. Now, one thing that I noticed when I was in the editor is I didn't have image attribute tags for all of these little icons. You definitely want to optimize the page as much as possible to get any type of SEO score possible. Now, Google has said that image alt tags have no SEO ranking. They don't really help with the SEO, but this is something that you might as well do when you're in there, just so search engines can find the images. So if somebody does randomly type in, we detect leaks fast or your money back or something along those lines, this image is going to pop up in the Google search. Very similar to if you were to type in, a keyword phrase inside of Google search engines and you were to go to images, the only reason these are showing up is because there are image attribute tags inside of these images and they show up. So for example, this one right here, this it probably just says developmark or something along those lines. And you can see all of the other images that say that as well. So like this is on our website, this is on our site, this is on our site. So it's one of those things where you might as well add it, even though it doesn't have a lot of SEO rankings. Same things down here, and then what I'm going to do is continuing throughout this actual plan here with this content, I really quickly just wanted to show you exactly how I add all of the content for our clients when we're either writing the content ourselves, or if the client is sending us over. So once I'm done with all these changes, generally speaking, I'll just go in and make sure that we go ahead and one thing I want to show you before we did that. If you go to Utah, let's just go back to the home, the actual target page. Now that I have a ceiling leak detection one, I can go ahead and change this link right here to ceiling leaks, right? So instead of bringing it to nothing, I can actually change this existing page to ceiling, and that's going to go ahead and change that button, so when somebody clicks it, it goes to the Utah leak detection for ceilings and not the actual Los Angeles one, so we want to keep it as relevant as possible. We also want to do that on the other pages that we built out as well, because we want to make sure that that user experience is there. So obviously I'm not going to do this all on camera for all of these other ones here. That'll be something my team does on their spare time. But you can see here, let's do that again, ceiling. Okay. Okay, so when I republish this and when the site goes back live onto the search index and somebody goes onto that Utah page, this one right here, this ceiling leaks one, this will actually go to the Utah one that we just wrote. And then also those other pages will be inside of Google search. And we have this client in Search Console and the sitemap is submitted, so they should find those pages pretty easily. And if you want to, ever look and see if the client is showing up in the search index for the pages that you've already written, as long as they're quality, it should show up pretty fast. But you can see right here that I can pull up this page and I can basically go to Google and I could just copy and paste the URL into the search index, and it should show that page. So you can see right now that that page is not indexed yet. which means, you know, Google's still waiting some time. I can manually index it, meaning I could force the index and actually put it into Search Console and request for them to index it. But I'm just going to let it happen naturally, considering we add so many pages to this website. Eventually, it happens naturally, and you don't have to worry about it. You can even see right here, this is kind of quiet. I forgot we even added this, but there's different keyword phrases in the search results for mold removal in Utah, and that's a question that somebody did ask, and you can see that's ranking number 1. Somebody did ask, you know, how do we do location pages with different services for those location pages? And we're going to talk about that more in more videos, but for now, let's take a look and see what's going on here. So if you ever want to find a page pretty quickly, you can just pull up the sitemap, and then you can do, if you pull up the sitemap and that URL is twinplumbing.com/sitemapxml, I could just search in here Utah, and then I can just see which ones are here. There they are. These are the leak detection ones. Okay, so there we go. I can pull this up. This is the service. This is the page that we wanted. Okay, so now you can see it's live. And then this button right here should be linking only to the ceiling leaks. And then boom, when I click it, it moves over to the ceiling leak detection page. I changed the image on this page just to make it a little more unique. And then you can see right here the URL structure is service areas, Utah, leak detection, ceiling. And then once I build the other pages like cost, right, because there's a cost one, this is the cost information, then what I'll do is I'll move this over and I'll put cost. And I'll just keep the URL structure going based on the categorization of the site. And then if I wanted to also do, let's say, inside of here, I also have rain leak detection, right? So I'll bring that back. So what I'll do is I'll do rain over here. So we already have a Utah leak detection, then it'll be rain, and then it'll be, let's say, roof, and then it'll be HVAC equipment, or whatever it is that we're creating inside of there. And you just keep it, you keep scaling from there. So if I had ceiling and then I had cost, or cost, and then maybe I had like common questions, if I wanted to add an FAQ past that, you can see how many different types of keywords are naturally starting to happen inside of the search results. That's the same thing when I typed in Utah expert mold inspection. You can see right here that this URL structure is twinplumbing.com/service areas/Utah/Erber, and you just keep moving it from there. You can see that Angie's List follows something very similar. So the bigger sites that are doing this are doing the exact same things, because you don't want all of the keywords inside of the URL structure. This is one thing that I noticed when we took down this site. You can see right here, I mean, this is just completely sloppy. This is probably a 404 page. I'm not sure. Let's take a look. Okay, no, this is a blog post. That's why it's showing up that way. But you can see how sloppy this looks. You have the domain, then you just have a bunch of keywords in one. And unfortunately, we're not categorizing the blog post because we don't kind of really see the need for it. But the URL structure that's created, and it's just categorized like this one right here, twinplumbing.com/service area/Utah/Park City. And then you have all the content, unique title tag, unique meta descriptions, decent page structure. As long as you follow those things, you should be able to get decent SEO rankings as well as good conversion on the site, because none of this stuff matters unless you're getting conversion. So that's all for this video, guys. I thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.